Hello, good day everyone. This is Raymond Española or Sir Monch of Surigao del Norte State University. This is another lecture video that is a continuation of the previous one. The first one was an exploration of the philosophical perspectives of the self, now this time, sociological perspectives. Now for this part, these are our stimulating questions or questions which will invite you to trigger your prior learning. First question here, how do you perceive yourself and what factors do you believe shape your identity? So previously, when we covered the philosophical perspectives of the self, the understanding was the value, the ethics, the obligation of the human self is to use reason or to just depend on sensations, impressions. But this time, let's ask a bigger question. What factors shape our identity, our sense of who we are? What role do you think society and social interactions play in forming our sense of self? And can you identify any examples in your life where the perception of others or norms of the society have influenced our thoughts and behaviors? So, in essence, when it comes to sociological perspectives, we are examining how the individual person, how selves are embedded in the society. Okay. So these are the contents of this lecture video, relatively short compared to the first one. Emil Durkheim's Structural Functionalism, George Herbert Mead's Symbolic Interactionism, Charles Horton Cooley's The Looking Glass Self, Dramaturgy by Irving Goffman, and Social Constructionism or Constructivism by Peter Berger and Thomas Luckman. So this is the concept map so that you can have a visualization of the interconnections of the topics. Under the classical theories in sociology, we have structural functionalism, symbolic interactionism, and the looking glass self. And lastly, these are contemporary theories or modern theories, dramaturgy, and social constructionism. We begin with Emil Durkheim's structural functionalism. Structural functionalism is a perspective that says society is a complex system composed of various interrelated parts, that the society involves institutions, norms, traditions, roles, and responsibilities, and all these structural elements have their own functions, and that they need to function together in order to maintain stability and order in the society. So what are these major parts? We have institutions, for example, family. Family is the basic unit of the society. That's what we learn from high school. Educational systems, religious institutions, and even economic institutions, business establishments, they all play a role in shaping individual behavior. And apart from the presence of social institutions, there are norms and values, as well as responsibilities and roles. Roles are expectations that the society imposes on individuals depending on the role that you take. So for example, if you're a parent, what should you do? So we have norms for being a parent. When you are a teacher in high school, you are a teacher in elementary, you are a teacher in college, there are certain values and norms that you have to live by because these are expectations, no? These are your functions. If you are a male or a female, if you are a masculine, a man or woman, there are expected behaviors that you should perform, okay? And again, for structural functionalism, the idea there is in order to achieve harmony in the society or order in the society, everybody, every person who is part of any given society should conform, should follow, okay, in order to have this social order, social stability. Okay. So it's important that every person, every human being is aware of his or her expected roles and norms para ma-maintain ang order, because whenever there are deviations, kung muhawa na ka from that, if you don't follow the expected responsibilities and roles, usually these are sanctioned or these are corrected. For example, let's talk about gender. The society, when we think using structural functionalism, na ay expectation, na ay norm nga if you are born male, you should be masculine. If you are born female, you should behave in feminine ways, no? Now, karon, there are people, some people nga biologically male sila pero they become feminine. So ang mahitabo, they are sanctioned, they are corrected na, oy, mali, that's immoral, that's wrong. You should change, you should adapt, you should conform to the norms of the society. Mauna ang structural functionalism. There is strong emphasis on conformity. Okay? I will repeat myself. Under this sociological perspective, the emphasis is on conformity. Nga naman, need man ta mo conform because human beings are part of the society and that there are established rules, established norms, established standards given by several social institutions. So we need to adapt, we need to follow para walay gubot, para na ay peace and order. Okay? So you might, in other words, that's our essence, no? Understanding the self. Therefore, under structural functionalism is we are meant to conform. We are meant to follow. We are meant to just, you know, subscribe to whatever norms that exist before us. Okay? So socialization is the process of teaching and learning the norms, values, and roles within a society, which ensures that the members of the society understands how to participate actively. Okay, so you see, our value as human beings is defined by whether we can actively participate in the harmony of the society, and harmony in the society means following, conforming, conforming, following. Okay. So in a nutshell, in summary, structural functionalism is a macro level understanding of how various parts of society work together to create a cohesive whole. Next, let's go to George Herbert Mead's Social Interactionism. Symbolic interactionism is a micro level perspective of understanding social interactions. Kung ari kita sa structural functionalism, we're talking of the entire community, entire society, several institutions. Here, symbolic interactionism, our coverage is the shared symbols and meanings in every human interaction, which forms the basis of social life. Okay, so essentially, George Herbert Mead's symbolic interactionism focuses on the symbols, no? Anything that represents something else in human interactions, mauni atong language, gesture, signs. Okay? These are symbols. And sa atong social interaction, ga-attach kita og meaning to these symbols. Okay? So for example, kung ang apple kabalota, that's a fruit, no? Kung ang penis kabalota, that's a symbol of being a male, no? And daghan pa example, no? And you can think of other examples kay naatay meanings ana. And then according to symbolic interactionism, mao ni ang cycle sa atong social life. We begin with some ideas or symbols na atong gina-attach or meaning na atong gina-attach to certain symbols na maoy mahimong integrated sa atong views, and then maoy atong gamiton sa pag-interact in the society, and so on and so forth. The complicated thing here is we may have different meanings to different symbols. So for example, naa diri inyo makita ang isa ka bae, ganahan siya dito sa tree. Kaya ang iyang nakita is the shadow. Karon ang shadow symbolizes kanang place to rest, no, place to relax, etc. Pero kaning layaki dire still looking at the same symbol, lahi ang meaning niya. Ang meaning niya is na ay mga insects na posible mokamang sa ila. So this is the micro level of social interaction na people, ang ilang social life is defined by how they establish meanings, different meanings to relatively the same symbols na mao'y mahimong basis ng ilang social life. Okay? In essence, kaning symbolic interactionism ni George Herbert Mead says that reality is indeed socially constructed through our daily interactions and negotiations of meaning. Okay? So this is the comparison of the two, structural functionalism and symbolic interactionism. So naatay basic premise, understanding of the self, and so on. Okay? So maoning individual roles are determined by societal needs and structures. Dapat mo conform kita. But however, there is a symbolic interactionism. We actively form the meanings to symbols shaped by social interactions. Okay. Now let's go to a related theorist in sociology, Charles Horton, Cooley's The Looking Glass Self. Sa may naaning, The Looking Glass Self. The Looking Glass Self is a concept that emphasizes the formative role of social interactions and perceptions play in developing self-concept. Our understanding of ourselves is therefore shaped by how we believe others perceive us. Okay, so the looking glass self again is an idea that uh, we we f- we come to an understanding of who we are by depending on the knowledge that we have of how others see us. Okay, so for example, ga-browse kitag Facebook, ga-browse kitag TikTok. So kung unsay comments na atong ma-receive, mao man na ang perception ng ubang tao sa ato. So ang ilang perception sa ato ma-integrate maoy mahimong knowledge nimo of yourself, of who you are. So kung moingon sila didto sa Facebook imong mga friends na gwapa, 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 talented, talented, abtik, abtik. So these things are then integrated to your sense of self, no? Na murag ang ending na hinoon, murag you don't really come to think of who you are through reasoning. You just listen to what other people say about you. Okay? So, mauna ang negative diha is kung ingnan pod kag waypoyos, bulok, let's say for example, mabuli, no? Na dili ka gwapa, you don't belong. So, mausab na ang mahimong view nimo sa imong self to the point na di na ka motuo sa kung unsa isulti ng imong parents, di na ka motuo sa kung unsa ang imong true essence as a human person, kay mas motuo na ka sa kung unsay giingon sa uban. That is the looking glass self. What you perceive of others seeing you is your reality. So sa may importance ani sa social development, no, through continuous interactions and reflections, individuals form a sense of who they are, no? The reflections in the looking glass of others' perceptions are crucial in shaping one's identity. And crucial na pod ang role of significant others, no? Kay important gud ang feedback ng uban, family, friends, and influential people. So, mauna nga careful kita, especially sa inyong edad, you are adolescents and you are driven by, social interactions with peers, and very likely or most often, mas mamati kita sa kung unsay isulti ng peers instead of kung unsay isulti ng parents. Okay? So, mauna ang medyo delikado na part na mas matuo sa barkada kaysa sa parents. So, mauna siya. Okay? Let's go to another, Irving Goffman's dramaturgy. According to Irving Goffman, we are like actors on a stage. We are just performing drama. Okay? People only play roles and manage impressions to navigate the complex world of social interaction. Para kang Irving Goffman, ang atong kinabuhi, atong social life is just a theater. So na ay front stage and backstage. Goffman divides social life into two primary settings. The front stage, where individuals perform for others, and the backstage where they can be themselves without concern for audience reaction. So kung naata sa balay, naata sa atong kaugalingong kwarto, that can be considered as our backstage. Kung naata sa eskwelahan, no, na ay bisita sa balay, that is our front stage. Okay? Na ang atong social life is just drama on our part. And we're just performing. Individuals enact roles based on societal expectations and personal goals. So depende. So for example, someone is biologically male, no? Tapos iyang na-realize later on through symbolic interactionism na ang kanang iyang penis is not necessarily should not necessarily define his sense of gender identity, that he can be someone else, and that his sense of being a man can be different. Okay, pwede siya mahimong trans, no? Or let's say, ma-realize niya nga transgender di ay siya, no? Pero ang ending, iyang itago because the society can be harsh. Ingon pa sa structural functionalism, masuko kung dili ma-conform sa societal standards na ay expectations ng society, no? So mahitabo ani posible magdrama, mag-perform lang ni Irving Goffman na you just perform. Sige, I don't want trouble, di ko ganahan ng gubot. Sige, I will perform to create an impression that yes, I am following the societal expectations. Okay, and then we also have props and settings. People use various props such as clothing and language, and settings such as home or office to support their performance and convey specific messages about their identity. So you see, kung sa chat pod for example, ang kaning backstage, mauna ang sa inbox na mahitabo ninyo, mga informal talk and relaxed lang na mga role, kanang moingon tag nagpakatotoo. Because we're not really making impressions, no? We're not making drama. Ang kaning naa sa makita sa Instagram upload, imong profile information, that's dramatic interaction. Okay, imo nang kinabuhat to control impressions of other people about you. Okay, so again, on sa implication ani, the self is still a social construct na ang self is not a static entity but dynamic in the sense na ga-interact siya depende sa demands na ma-face ng isa ka tao, and that the self is adaptable and flexible. It can learn to adapt their performances to different audiences and contexts, reflecting the fluid or multifaceted nature of human identity. Lastly, para ito sa social constructionism. These two individuals established this sociological tradition when they published a book called The Social Construction of Reality, a treatise in the sociology of knowledge in 1966. Social constructionism is a perspective where people actively engage or shape their reality through social interactions. That is, much of what is perceived as reality is not natural but constructed through human activity. Okay. Society's members collectively define what is real or true. The shared practices, rituals, and norms within a culture are critical in shaping how reality is understood and experienced. So, for example, beauty or gender roles. na ay lain-lain na culture, lain-lain na community, na ay mga norms na dapat taas imong hair, dapat puti ka, dapat wala kay punggod. What else? Dapat taas ka, dapat mahinhin kung babae or kung lalaki, dapat matikas, gahi, maghingas. These are definitions of beauty. But take note, according to social constructionism, dili taga depende sa kung unsay norms ng society, because our understanding of our reality is depende sa kung unsay atong na-construct na reality from our social interactions. So, as an illustration, mao ni ang mahitabo na ay external reality, no? Mga norms, mga rules, mga roles, expectations. So, kana dawato na sa tao through understanding through language. Siyempre ang tao dili man na niya i-interpret dili man na niya dawaton lang automatically, iya pa nang i-interpret para maoy mahimo niyang constructed reality. And then ang reality mahimong mag-decide siya na maoy iyang action. Okay, so let's have another example here. So for example, na ay reality nga ang external reality is naa siya'y ari kita balik sa gender. Let's say an individual na siya'y penis. So ang reality niya is he should be masculine. Dapat blue iyang sanina, dapat iyang toys, mga tarak-tarak, dapat iyang mga toys, iyang mga interests kaning mga physical sports. So kada na mga ideals, kada na mga expectations, mabatian na sa tao, iya pa nang i-interpret. And kung naa siya'y kung unsa may galing iya ma-construct na reality, kung ganahan siya adto, mo-conform siya, edi okay. Pero it's possible na dili siya mo-conform because again, ang atong decision, atong behaviors, atong actions all depend on our constructed reality, not on external reality. Okay? So, posible ang isa ka tao despite na siya'y penis, no? Pwede siya mahimong feminine kay ang iyang constructed reality is different, na mahimo na siyang transgender woman. So, she is a woman. Kibali. So, ang iyang action, feminine, no? Mao na. So, if I had to go back, social constructionism is we actively shape our reality through social interactions. So, kung imo na i-compare sa structural functionalism, balik kita sa structural functionalism, ingon ni Emil Durkheim, ingon ni katong mga functionalists, structural functionalists, na ang tao dawat lang ng pagkadawat, conform, follow, maintain social order through conforming kung unsa may galing rules, kung unsa may galing norms, kung unsa may galing responsibilities, expectations na ginahatag sa ato ng society. Here, it's different. Sa social constructionism is so much different because ingon dire, yes, na ay expectations na pwede i-receive nato through perception. We listen to them, but at the end of the day, we interpret them. We process. Okay? We do critical thinking. And we create our own constructed reality. And that becomes the basis of our actions and behaviors in the world with others. Okay? So, unsa may implication ani? For identity and for formation, individual identities are shaped through participation in social practices, internalizing the meanings and roles defined within their social contexts. And also, social construction affects how individuals perceive and interact with others, shaping relationships and community bonds. Now, this is the comparison of the three unsay comparison aning the looking glass self, dramaturgy, and social constructionism. So you may take a screenshot of this one and study in order for you to be able to know the difference between the three. And then what are our key takeaways? That yes, there are multiple influences in shaping our identity. Pwede our own self mismo, our own understanding, our own interpretation, our constructed reality, pwede pod kaning how we are bound to conform to the expectations of society. And then the self is neither solely a product of society nor entirely self-determined. And also, na ay role ang perception and reflection. So, maotong sa looking glass self, di ba? We listen to the perceptions of others. And sa reflection, we create constructed reality. And then the presentation of self na ay implication nga there can be a lot of times where our behaviors for others are only presentations of ourselves, just our effort to manage the impressions of others about us. And yeah, agency and conformity. So, mao ni akong gusto ma-emphasize, and I think ako ning na-emphasize a while ago, na when we are active agents, we form our reality. Pero ang uban mo ingon lagi na dapat dili kita active agents. Dapat conform lang ta, conform sa kung unsay balaod, unsay norms. And also you can find philosophical connections. So katong for example sa katong mga impressions, no? Katong sa the looking glass self, that's an empiricist point of view. In conclusion, the landscape of sociological perspectives in understanding the self has allowed us to unearth profound insights that resonate with the complexity of human identity within social contexts. And indeed, no man is an island. Okay, the self is not an isolated entity. Kay daghan siya'y influences, daghay factors na pwede mag-nurture, mag-shape sa atong social interactions. No, katong symbols, language, perceptions of others about us, and even our own constructions of reality and cultural practices, katong norms, societal expectations, and so on. Okay? So, for reflection, so you may take a screenshot of this one, you answer these questions because you might be asked in class to answer these questions. Thank you for taking the time to listen this lecture video.